everybody. I'm Steven. I'm going to be talking about chapters 10 through 12 of our textbook today. And starting with chapter 10, which is about social institutions. So social institutions are fundamental to life on this earth as a human being. They're so fundamental that I didn't even really know what a social institution, like what that definition was, until I read this chapter. But basically, that definition of a social institution is just something that's set up by the members of the society that's like an organization or a mechanism designed to keep the society intact and whole. One example is religion, but I'm going to talk about more about that specifically. Social institutions are, when allowed, fluid and dynamic. That means that as a society grows and evolves, so do the social institutions that society employs. For example, the religion in ancient Greece, Zeus was the king of everything. He ruled the world. No one worships Zeus anymore because societies on Earth kind of grew past that. So the first of the 5 fundamental societal institutions are family. There are a few ways to define family, but basically it's just the people you live with or the people who are related to you by blood, your descendants, your ancestors, siblings. In previous generations on Earth, family was a bit more straightforward. Your family was your parents, grandparents, siblings, children, your spouse, their family. But nowadays there's a bit more of a gray area there, in that there are more variations on the family. For example, same-sex marriage is legal now, and that's cool. And more single parents are finding success. There's just more variation, and variation is good. It gives a society power and strength to survive. So that's just kind of saying that again. The modern family is more complex. Also, sometimes now dads stay at home, whereas it used to be that fathers were always the breadwinners. And this transition to a more dynamic family is basically because politics changed. Now, people are, in general, more tolerant than they used to be of things that are different than what they believe. Which is, again, just another reason how social institutions are and should be fluid and dynamic, changing over time as a society changes. The second one, the 5 primary social institutions, is the economy. The economy is just an institution designed to regulate the creation, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. The most popular economic systems are capitalism and communism. Both heavily influence the political landscape because the government is a key component in both systems. I would say the economy is probably either the most influential or the second most influential of the primary social institutions, being either the economy or the government, because the economy heavily influences every other social institution. So the first of the main economic systems is communism. In communist economic system, the leaders of the government heavily regulate trade and wages. Everyone contributes labor or whatever it is they can to generate food and other goods, which are then taken by the government and redistributed according to need amongst the whole populace. Whereas in capitalism, the government kind of is a little bit hands-off of the economy. They kind of let the economy balance itself while stepping in to balance things when needed, like give the little guy a leg up or whatever. The legal system is the realm of government that most closely interacts with capitalism by attempting to as I said, keep the playing field relatively open to new ideas and businesses, which grow the economy as a whole. And then obviously the government regulates banks and currency. There are three other primary social institutions, those being education, government, and religion. Education basically allows new members of the society, most often children, to learn, or in some cases, immigrants, to learn the basic skill. And for children, education allows them to learn the basic skills they will need as they mature and eventually move into the workforce. Whereas for like immigrants or new members of a society who are new because they moved into that society, education is important because it allows them to learn, okay, this is what the society is like. Education is critical to the development of society because it teaches new members of the society how the society as a whole functions and how each member of the society functions within the society as a whole, which contributes to societal stability. Education also enables members to think better and prepares them to formulate new ideas, which will then help the society to grow and develop and get better and stronger. Government is the social institution that allows all the others to function properly. Government has at least a bit of a hand in every other institution in a society, basically. And because government can, to some extent, limit what variations on the family model exist, government can heavily influence the economy. And pretty much everywhere, government has either partial or total control over education. Because government exercises some form of control over all the other aspects of society, it is the most critical social institution to be set up when a society is put together. And it's critical that the system of government is well thought out with inherent checks that keep the government from getting out of hand. Religion is a social institution that's pretty vague as far as what a religion is, but basically a religion is just something that codifies a system of value and beliefs. Religions can supply answers to various questions members of society may have, and can also supply needs. Yeah. And finally, I want to talk about what we as budding sociologists can do with this knowledge we have after reading through the textbook and watching each other's presentations and learning more about sociology. And we all have a responsibility now. Now that we know something, we need to use that for good. Ideally, I mean, you could also use it for bad if you're so inclined. That's a personal decision. But ideally, we use our knowledge for good. And in this case, with sociological knowledge, that means using this knowledge of how society functions and what societies need to improve society. For example, I think I'm finally going to start a political blog I've been thinking about doing, centered around putting forward moderate ideas and encouraging cooperation between both parties, Democrat, Republican, even independents, just whoever you are, let's work together to make America even better than it already is. What are you going to do with your new sociological knowledge? How are you going to make the world a better place? Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.